Okay, with Medlov Sabashvili, a film, Dividing Line, a film from Georgia, 27 minutes, played at the Wild Sound Festival. Really interesting film, kind of two different, same actor, two different stories, kind of like the same story, but one makes one choice, one makes another choice. Sorry, did I say that properly? Like I'm trying to explain it, but it's like the different, it's like two different parallel universes, I guess, right?
Well, that was the idea to do something a bit unique and interesting. And I don't know how well we succeeded, but yeah, that was the idea.
No, I thought it's all about it's like there's a lot going on, but it's like it is in life where we make one choice and everything
Yes.
changes, right? I think that there was a movie back in the British movie back in the day that kind of did this concept with Gwyneth Paltrow. I remember like back in the day,
Yes,
right?
it's her. It's about her going to a train station, right?
Yeah.
And missing a train. Yeah, there were a few movies that attempted this concept. There are even movies that did it with a split screen. But yeah, there are no quite films like attempting to tell a alternative stories at the same time. That was
Yeah.
the idea, to make it coherent and interesting. And the fact that I liked about this production is that you couldn't really Google how to frame a shot with two frames at the same time. Like we still had to adhere to the same principles of rule of third and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
with the two perspectives, two viewpoints, and that was really interesting challenge. And I really enjoyed working on it. It wasn't always a smooth sailing, but it was quite interesting.
So I want to ask you how you did it, but basically, so the concept is a woman finds the strength to leave an abusive relationship. That's one
Yes.
story. And then the same woman does not find the strength to leave abusive relationship, and then you kind of see what goes from there. So there's a nice moral or like a thematic happening in our life, like about abusive relationship and about like the fears and insecurities and like the strength to leave a bad relationship. It's like it's very difficult, right?
Yes, and I wanted to be really thorough with my research. I contacted female women who were in that type of situations, and I really asked how they felt, because I'm not a woman in abusive relationship, fortunately, and I don't really have that experience, and I wanted to portray it with dignity and like paying respect. To those women and showing a brighter side. And I tried to be as meticulous as possible. I consulted a lot of women about the project. Even when we finished the film and I made the edit, the women who were watching, they had comments like, "Oh, women don't really talk like that. You need to trim here, there, like make highlight emotions more, because men are really technical when they talk." Like we talk facts and we joke around a lot. But when women talk, especially about their feelings, it's more emotional and a lot of subtext. So yeah, that details, and it was really interesting and learning experience for me. I feel like I understand women better now because of this experience. Like how much I had to dive deep into this, and that I'm really thankful for this project.
So the great thing about your film is a lot of great things, but the performances is fantastic, and she's doing two different same character but two different roles, which I'm assuming she loved playing this character, your actress.
Yes, Mariam really great actress who is a real trooper. Like she doesn't really like retreat or like say no to anything. She was really a soldier on the battlefield and performed this role. And it was really quite a balance to find. Like I'm not an actor; I'm a horrible actor, and for her to portray this, and sometimes like the scene is working when the scene has ended. I said cut, and crew starts to clap. Like people are so taken aback. Like the her husband, the guy, great Georgi Arveladze, when he played his role and he's angry and all agitated, my makeup artist said that I got generally scared of him. Like when you feel those emotions on the set, you know that scenes are working. And actors were so in on these chairs because they all are primarily theater actors, and the theater actors love to be over the top, and
Yeah.
sometimes those scenes of arguing and being loud, they really loved it and tapping into it. But what I find the hardest scenes are like the everyday normal emotions are the hardest to portray on the screen, and those took a lot of tinkering. And for Mariam, the challenge was we didn't want it to her to appear as two different persons. Like it would have been detrimental for the film. She still has to be the same person. You need to feel
Yeah.
that the core is the same. It's the same person. Like the whole film relies on it. I think Mariam did a great job, and if I helped her in some way with my directing, I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, no, it's great. And where did you find your cast? Like, did you go do auditions or
Yeah. So the story goes that in especially in my town, Batumi, there's not a big film society or community, what you can call, and there are theater actors. I knew some people connected to this theater troupe, and when I was started to making films, I contacted one of the person, and she was so kind of offering, okay, what kind of roles you want? This actor will do good for this. This actor will be good for this, and we started walking, and it was like 5 years ago. And since when I basically worked with the same kind of people, like same core of people, like same troop. Like if you go on a marathon of my films, you find that actors flow from one film to another.
yeah.
And yeah, and it has its upsides because when I was writing characters, I know their strengths, their weaknesses, and I can more adjust the characters to the actors, and they kind of merge in this symbiotic relationship with the characters and actors.
No, it's a great study of like human character because we do. I think that obviously you were talking about female perspective and like
Yes,
articulation, but also from a humanity level, we all kind of do have these situations in our life where like we're all in. Some of us are in bad situations, and it takes us a lot to get out of it, and then it changes us, or like little simple things. It's like I'm just like gonna like from like good Back to the Future. Like when
yes,
George McFly punches Biff, and then all of a sudden his life
yes,
changes, right? He goes in one
yes,
direction, and it makes sense. I
yeah.
know it's like a comedy, whatever that, but that's what happens in life, though. You do these if you face up to the bully and you punch the bully out, your life will change psychologically. You'll be a different human being, right?
Yes, I really like the point you are making, and thank you for noticing that because, of course, I personally can't relate to a character. And when I was writing, when I was directing, even my idea for me personally was that everyone has their own demon. Like this husband is particularly this woman's demon, but we can all relate that people have in their life maybe it's laziness, and you need to overcome this laziness. Like and how your life would change if you overcome your own personal demon. And that was really the idea to be for the film to be a bit more broad thematically for people. And of course, everyone wonders like what could have been. We all have these shower thoughts. Like after we have some interaction in a shower, you are standing. Okay, if
Yeah.
I behave differently, what could have been? And yeah, this was the idea. And yeah, to show it. Like this. I don't know. Sometimes it may borderline on cheesiness, and maybe it's a gimmicky. But yeah, this was the idea to have these alternative versions because this idea was floating in my head for like 3 years. Because at first planned to do it animated, and then when time came to do this project, I remembered. Okay, I have this idea, and I have this really good crew with whom I'm working, like director of photography, sound decorating and stuff, and I have these core actors who can really play these characters. Okay, let's do it live action. And yeah, we started, and it was quite a journey.
And then you had, I'm assuming you're like the location of the apartment is was key to your film, like finding that
Yeah.
location and kind of having that parallel story happening in the same location where even from a continuity standpoint, everything's got to be the same, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
uh, that was quite a challenge in two ways. One, from the screenplay viewpoint, because you kind of need her to stay in the same
Yeah,
apartment, and it
yeah,
kind of doesn't make sense for her to stay in the same apartment. So I use this screenplay loophole of a court order allowing her to stay. It
yeah.
doesn't align with any laws in Georgia for her to stay there, but yeah, I use this loophole for her to stay to have a better parallels between the frames. Yes, and also the apartment itself, the host was so generous that we had a lot of times there. Well, relatively a lot of time, like she was living there, and this woman was really helpful. And the thing is, because uh, when you adapt to locations, my idea was for the apartment to be on the second floor, because when the film ends, I wanted for her to look from the second floor, from the window. But I thought it was like visually more pleasing, but when we came there, it was first floor. And in Georgia, it's a custom that these first floor apartments have these security bars on the windows. And at the last scene, it kind of added to the moment, like the her like this negative version staying in a prison of this kitchen behind the bars and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it was a happy accident. And
So,
yeah, this kind of things happen.
so the you're mentioning in the blog interview that the post production was took some time because you had an okay shoot and then you had to kind of like figure out how to match all the scenes together. Like you have the split screens in some scenes and then the
Yes.
continuity. Like talk to me about the post production.
Yes, post-production was quite a challenge in terms. I don't want to sound like it was mine work or something like that, but yeah, figuring out how to frame these shots was challenging. And you need to understand that also there need to be some balance between if all shots are perfectly synced, it will look kind of fake, like forced and unnatural. So they shouldn't be like all lined up and stuff like that. I never really pursued this, but sometimes there needs to be some kind of like parallels to be more like visually
Yeah.
pleasing. So
Yeah.
yeah, timing it all like on the set, I came with, of course, the storyboards, everything, and we had this mental like metronome, like 1, 2, 3 beats that would match, and we tried our best. We tried to do our best, but even like the shots where you okay, I have the idea that on the second screen there will be just sitting like a character and her new love interest will be sitting and watching a TV, but when I have the footage and I edited second scene is longer than I have the footage of the scene, all them
Yeah.
sitting. So then it comes to these technologies and AI and everything to prolong that scene, to loop it in a way that it's not noticeable. There are a lot of tricks of cuts that to prolong the scenes and even shorten them. And yeah, it was interesting post production. And of course, adding to that sound and color correction, I never wanted to be this cliche of the bad side being like dark and gray and stuff like that. I always thought it would be too forced, like commanding the emotion. So we did it in a balanced way and sound design wise. So we always paid attention where the where the audience will be paying attention, and we use sounds to like distract sometimes and
Yeah.
sometimes to guide the viewer.
So the interesting thing, like you have that long sequence where he gets arrested on the left
Yes,
side of the frame, and then you go through the court proceedings, and on the other frame, there's like nothingness. There's like it's
yes,
empty, and then later on, there's a scene of him kind of chilling out on the couch. In that empty frame, tells you so much, right?
yes.
Like it's an interesting directorial choice where you like nothingness and kind of blandness kind of has a profound effect in your film.
Yes, one of the audience reactions from the festival, one of the guys mentioned that these two frames tell third meaning. They create the third meaning, and I really liked that comment because, yeah, there was ideas about those frames, and you can notice that they are perfectly lined up because we use the motion rig and
Yeah.
everything to create the smooth motion and there's actually an anecdote because if you see, you'll notice I have a cameo there as a policeman because when we secured the location, I always imagined it being in a like huge courtroom. Like I love these courtroom dramas, and I wanted a courtroom scene
Yeah.
in a sense of this. But when we got there, the courtroom was so small, it almost looked like a storage room for like cleaning supplies. And
Yeah.
we had to cut down the pen because I planned it like more like circular pen, and we
Oh,
had to cut
gotcha.
down, yes, on a half. And when we are actually filming it, because I can't cut down the dialogue, I need to get a lot of exposition. I can't slow it down, and I can't fasten it. So it slowly pans, and my director of photography says to me that, Mevlud, like for most of the scene, the camera is looking at the blank wall. There's nothing there, like
Yeah.
even in the frame. And I remember that I have a police uniform from the yesterday's shoot. So okay, I grabbed the uniform, I put it on and stand in on the wall. So there's something in a frame, and yeah,
Gotcha.
that's how my camera came to be.
No, it's great. The great little moments where like she's like sleeping, she's having a good night's sleep, right? And then
Yeah,
like the cigarette's not there anymore. Like just that, it's all that distraction, like the symbolism of like what this man represents, right? Like
yeah.
he represents discomfort. You know what I mean? In like in many ways, and like you show it in the frames.
Yeah, about her sleeping, one woman who admitted that she has gone through that kind of experience, she commented that the moment of her sleeping peacefully without her abusive husband, and how weighted she is, how hard she is when she is with her husband, like perfectly captures the feeling of a woman who escapes that kind of relationship. And I was so happy about it because like I never like envisioned it or planned it for it to have that meaning. Like I because when you are making the film, of course it's like this emotional important story, but for you it's like a film, like a project, like a narrative challenge to
Yeah.
overcome. And I don't really think in terms of emotions and stuff like that. I need to tell a story, and I meant it as a story moment, but turns out the audience member who has that kind of experience. So sees it as an emotional moment, and it's really great. I love to hear in comments like that.
Cool. And yeah, so then yeah, it's you gotta self it's a good film. There's it's very
Thank you so
profound in
much.
so many ways.
Yeah,
So
thank
you
you so
happy
much.
with the result?
I'm happy with the result. Of course, in your head is the film was quite different and
Yeah. That's
more,
how it always works
let's
though,
say,
right?
yeah, that if you want 100%, you should always aim to at 150%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of like that. Yeah, I'm quite happy how the project turned out because we set out to do whatever mistakes are there is that's like what was expected, and I admit, and it was a great learning experience because I have films before that I might have even considered like as a for viewing experience a bit better, but this film was the one I learned a lot because it's fine. It's exaggeration to say we were shooting two films at the same time, but one and a half films at the same time, and it was quite an interesting challenge. And we were quite efficient because we shot it in 7 days,
Yeah.
and I felt like it was like the team really punched through it. Yeah, I'm quite happy about
So you mentioned in your interview that you also wanted like you've done directing, you directed a few shorts. You think that next you want to do a feature film. I think you're ready.
it.
Too.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, because like that's a mountain every film director wants to climb, I think, and of course now I feel like uh, well, I don't think you ever really feel like you are ready, but sometimes you have to make that leap of faith and just do it. Because like with these films, like nobody commands me. It's not my profession or like somebody telling me to make these films, but I'm just curious about filmmaking and I'm just making them. And I think that's the best approach. Just make them. Like don't overthinking some because and it comes quite contrary to my belief because I am an overthinker and I like to plan everything and stuff like that. But yeah, just do it. That's my motto.
And then you got like her influence with the other woman because she fought the fear and then she has that
Yeah.
in the back room, right? So yeah, it's like a ripple effect, obviously, right?
Yes, because I always wanted for it to have a social aspect in the film itself. I wish I had a bigger budget to have more of a social element to it, like how neighbors affect this situation. Because, of course, it's a cultural thing. Every culture deals with this kind of thing differently, and I didn't really want it for it to be a Georgia specific thing, like in that terms. I really avoided really specific names or street addresses or stuff like that for it to be a bit more broad and more comfortable experience for any kind of viewer and international viewers as well. And yeah, it's a social aspect for that and how she helps a person and from a narrative standpoint, just to keep it like tight. The story itself is tighter, and I think it's one of the best elements of the film, how it like flows from one person to another.
What did you, when the actress saw the film, what did she think of it?
She was really happy about it because she like herself is a nervous person and she really cares about this performance. And I think you can see it in her
Yeah.
performance that she really cared. And we had this premiere in the local cinema on a big screen with the crowds. And I think for everyone to sing themselves, especially she isn't used to it. She's a theater actor who isn't really acting anymore. Like personally, for in my films mostly, and for her to see people's reaction, which has been incredibly positive, people are kind, and I don't know. I heard many flaws about the film, but I never heard that someone was complaining about the acting of the main
No,
characters.
no, the acting's great. So
Yeah.
I'm curious about the choice of the old boyfriend and the new boyfriend.
Yes.
And even you guys all have beards. Like you have black hair and beards. Is that like she has a type of one with like even though the one's abusive,
Yes.
well, she has a type.
She has a type, and what's interesting about that is some people read it like she's making the same mistake, and
Yeah,
I think it's a perfectly reasonable reading of the like death of the after, of course, because whatever I inserted in this project doesn't matter. Far more important is what viewer is taking from it, and people are interpreting it in different ways, and not because they don't understand the materials. They just have different, like someone said to me that, okay, the right side the left happy side only happens in her head. Like the film turns into more negative. Okay. Some people are saying that she is making the same mistake with this guy because all these relationships start like that. Like you think like the guy is great and then he turns out into a monster because I had the ideas to plant that kind of seeds that how their relationship started like that. But I think less the less specific I am sometimes is the better for the story because
yeah.
I sometimes avoid this like being overly expositional and let the viewer decide to what's happening and what's
Well, we
going on.
do
And
like we do have patterns in our relationships, right? We create patterns.
yes,
You know,
yes,
like I remember like being in a very abusive relationship and then like thinking later on, oh, I broke this pattern. And then like a month later,
yes,
that girl ends up being the same person. It's like, oh my God, how did I not see this?
yes.
Right? We just we end up doing that, like whatever happens in our past. And yeah, we do, we're very much accustomed to not breaking patterns in relationships. So
Yes, because yeah, I don't want to get like too philosophical about this. It's like
yeah,
a human nature and stuff.
yeah,
And yeah, so we sometimes we find comfort in repetition, and as not intuitive it sounds, sometimes we find comfort in negative experiences.
yeah,
Even like people are so complex,
yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah, you can't really trivialize. And cycling back to the film at the end, I just want people to be hopeful that her new relationship will work out. And I don't know, there were ideas for that. To for her to be without a new man, but I kind of wanted to have a contrast, like to be more of a
Mm.
like a make a film for more like a male audience, because somebody actually from the audience thought that it's not great for women to watch this kind of film. So also for the men, and what kind of effect they can have on women, because abuse isn't only like physical or even verbal. Like sometimes people can be abusive just from the behavioral standards they set for their partner.
Mm.
And yeah, from that point, I think if this film even helps one person to realize and to like guide them to a better ways, it was all worth all troubles for
Yeah.
making it.
Well, I wish you the ultimate best of success. Looks like you're ready for a feature film. I know
Thank
there's a
you
lot
so
of
much.
things tied up together in terms of finances, but it seems like you
Yeah.
got a pretty great crew as well. So I wish you the best. How's the Georgia filmmaking scene?
Georgia filmmaking scene, while not incredibly present in an international scale, there are a lot of enthusiastic and really creative people who really want to push the medium and tell the stories. And while they're not, while there isn't much like a financing or the field, like community of producers seeking new project, the people actually there are a lot of short films coming, because I even wasn't aware myself until I started making film how much of a like people just making films and making films about their cities, about their lives. And I reckon every country has this kind of community that people are just making films, and I think it's really interesting and really gives the medium of filmmaking and the film itself really importance as a society, because just like I learned a lot about women and a lot about relationship from through this experience, and crew and actors around me, people making films learn about their subjects, and I think that's really important and kind of beautiful. Yeah.
All right, man.
Okay.
Great point. I wish you the best. Let's talk again when you make your next film.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. You're so kind.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.